Yes, sir. Yes,
It's there.
yes, sir. Share the PPT, sir.
It's okay.
Yes, it's okay, sir.
On YouTube also you have.
Yes. When we have that word live, 100% will be there on YouTube, sir.
No,
It's online.
kindly check one. Check once. That's the
Yeah, it's streaming, sir.
streaming.
Yes.
For me, it is not. Let me check.
It's streaming, sir.
Okay, you getting a on YouTube also.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good evening, friends. Today we'll be having a session, the Masterclass 4, wherein we'll be covering consumer environment. Because what are the micro and macro environmental issues that influence consumer behavior? Because consumer behavior of the consumer is induced mostly. It is not autonomous. Most of the behavior patterns are not just autonomous. You'll be influenced by number of factors in the process of buying different types of goods and services. So that's the reason why we need to understand the consumer environment. This is nothing but analyzing micro and macro customer influences. So it is divided into two. One is on section one, macro consumer environments description, and then we'll look into the impacts. So once we look at consumer environment, when we define it, or just to have a clear understanding, consumer environment refers to internal and external factors that influence how people buy products and services. So, what are the importance of this study? Why we need to understand these elements? First one is that it helps businesses to understand clearly what drives consumer choices. How does consumer buy a product, and what drives him or her in the marketplace? The second one is we can guide marketing strategies to match consumer needs, because your advertisement strategies, like your promotions, your distribution logistics strategies, your product strategies, all these things mean a lot for a marketer, and for price strategy also. All the four P's we need to define very clearly. And in case of services, we talk about processes, place, and all that. Right? When we try to understand consumer environment, we can help ourselves to fine tune our marketing strategy. That's why there is a need for us to understand. Say, for example, Flipkart's. Flipkart is a online marketing store. It's a very big, popular store. Big billion days sales. They announce it. Why do they announce this big billion days sale? See, because with people will be having some festive shopping habits. That means you'd like to buy some type of products during festive seasons, especially for dress apparel and all that, right? So festive shopping habits, and understanding both psychological as well as situational factors here. Situational factor is today or tomorrow is a festive day. That is situational. Second is psychological factors, because Flipkart announces festive season discounts as such. So psychological is desire for discount, getting a desire to get a product at a discount. So this is good example of looking at why businesses must try to understand the consumer environment, right? Let's proceed further. So there are two aspects. Micro is very specific, macro in general. Let us look at micro and macro consumer environment understandings and the key differences. When we define microenvironment, it is a study of internal factors affecting individual consumers. Each consumer A is different from consumer B, is different from consumer C. That's why we call this the internal factors internal to consumers. The second macro environment is general. There are external forces shaping broader market trends. There are a number of things. Let's examine further. For example, in micro environment, there are personal preferences and social influences as such. X may prefer this, Y may prefer that. This is a personal preference. Social preference means social classes prefer. For example, this generation people's buying habits are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. This is a social influence. All the students will behave like this, and the purchase patterns will be like this, or social classes, whatever. In case of macro environment, example would be economic conditions and technology shifts. For example, you have technologically sophisticated products. Now, would you buy an ordinary phone, a smartphone today? Because of the technological shifts are there, and you'll be able to get a smartphone at a reasonable prices. And there are economic conditions like in a boom period, what happens, and in disturbed scenarios, what may happen, and all that. This is called macroeconomic environment examples. And the business impact. Why we study micro environment or micro environment variables as such? We have already said just now. See, in micro environment, the business impact would be customizing offerings to individual needs. If you study individual needs, if you can answer individual needs with the help of product offerings, you can design a product, you can design a service. How you can base your analysis on individual needs. That's the case of micro environment. In case of macro environment, we study the overall perspective. That is, it shapes long-term strategy and adaptation, how the consumer class is moving and what are their preference patterns and all, on and on, in general, over a period of time. So that's the business impact when we talk about the macro environment. And as such, we say that micro and macro environmental consumer environmental variables are said to be very important. And what we just now discussed is the key differences between micro and macroeconomic environmental influences. Say, for example, Amazon's Prime Youth offer. For example, the Amazon, another popular online store, targets young consumers with discounts. As I've already told you, Flipkart's festive season offers like that. This is called micro environment because they are catering to youth consumers. And in case of macroeconomic environmental variables, the growth of UPI systems, universal payment, this thing, the growth of UPI, because you have Google Pay and you have Phone Pays, you have Paytms, and because of that, the growth of these UPI payments in India affects how businesses adopt cashless transactions. That's why we have online markets, online trade, and cashless. We are heading for cashless economy, and the study of that particular thing trend is called a macroeconomic consumer environment example. Let's see one by one now. In case of microeconomic environment, we look at the personal factors, as I've already told you. What are then our key personal factors for this, which can help us to study consumer trends, consumer demand trends, consumer preference trends? First one is age. Different age groups prefer different products. It goes without saying. Like when a younger age group preference patterns would be something different from older age group customers as such. So based on age profiles, the marketers will design different types of products and services as such. The second is the income levels. The income means your disposable income. See, people will be spending various types of products and services within the financial capacity, right? Within the financial capacity. So that's another interesting thing. That's why, say, there are deluxe models, there are economy models as such. Same product with an economy model, it tends to income lesser income groups. In a luxury model, for example, you are attending to people of high income levels. Like, for example, cars. See, Tata Motors, for example, say Tata Nano is a low income segment car, whereas something like, the Mercedes Benz, for example, or whatever you call it, luxurious. So that's based on incomes. And the third one is occupation. Occupation is, see, work influence also, the nature of work of the consumers will also influence the product choices. And you may be in X, what do you call, in work related position. I may be in another work related position, for example. Say, for example, all software employees who are very well in tune with electronic gadgets, their behavior modes are completely different. So based on occupation levels also, you can design and deliver products and services, etc. Then fourth one is lifestyles. Lifestyle is a broader perspective. See, what are your hobbies and interests? Your hobbies and interests, of course, may be based on age. They may be based on social customs and traditions, etc. And these are all again another interesting aspect. Of course, you cannot brand it as macro level, but it's a micro. So lifestyles. So, for example, we can take some urban youth in cities like Mumbai and Delhi prefer iPhones for status as an advanced technology. It may not be so in the case of rural areas as such. So, urban youth only prefer this. In case of rural consumers, they prefer, say, maybe MI smartphones for affordability and durability. One more thing is that in urban areas where we have the signaling system and all enablements are quite good, but in the case of rural areas, things may not be that good enough. So that's the aspect here. Then we refer to other situational factors. First one is personal factor, microeconomic environment, personal factor, and second one is a situational factor. And situational factor is that situation influences on purchases. So, for example, one, time of purchase. That means urgency or seasonality of the product. This affects the behavior. For example, we are heading for summer now. We are in February. Now there may be a large scale demand for air conditioners, air coolers for that matter, because that's a seasonal product as such. Am I clear what I'm saying? So, based on urgency and seasonal necessities as such, that affects the behavior. So, time of purchase is another important micro environmental variable. The second one is the social context. That means group may influence your purchases. That means the group influence means a particular social class. We have already talked about it. A particular social class will definitely have this kind of influence on that particular group as such. Or the students of MBA will be behaving like this, students of sciences will be behaving like this, like that. Now, when we consider social context, group influences also affect consumer choices. So marketers will also take advantage of this identification of this as such. So the number is slightly different if you are in line with my slideshow. Just look at that. And the third one is purchase environment. This is another interesting aspect here. This also can be considered as situational factors. Where do the consumers buy? In a physical store or an online platform? Both are there. So because of that, physical purchases are made possible. That's why we have lot of bigger shopping malls and all that. But people of particular category and particular preference pattern always buy on online platforms. That's why we have Flipkart, Amazon, XYZ online platform, online marketing models are there. So let's take, for example, in India, festive seasons like Diwali, Dasara, etc., when we talk about time of purchase or urgency, whatever, In case of Diwali, Dasara festivals in India, consumers prefer gold, electronics, fashion products due to cultural beliefs and discount driven market. That's why the marketers will always drive their customers towards discount sale during festive seasons. It can be for gold, it can be for fashion apparel or dress or whatever, or it can be for electronics and whatever. Then second important example can be in wedding season. That is interesting. See, in certain seasons, in certain months we have, the Indian tradition is all about performance of marriages or wedding during that particular season. When the wedding season starts, there is a surge in sales. Say, for example, gold, like brand is Tata's Tanishq jewelry and Manyavar apparel, something like that, traditional dress wear. So this is another important example when I talk about situational factors, macroeconomic, micro environmental situational factors. And next, third one would be micro environment psychological factors. This is mostly on consumer psychology components. First one is motivation. What drives a purchase? How do you buy a particular television, for example? What drives you to purchase a car or a smartphone? This is what we call perception. How consumers interpret messages. See, perception is a process, mental process, where you select the information, processes it, and then go for taking a decision. That means you will be looking at advertisements or pre-market, pre-sale efforts, examine, study, and then take a decision. This is called your perception. And that perception motivates you. Perception about the product or service motivates you to buy a product. That's first one. The second is learning. That means you will be learning to buy X product or Y product based on previous experiences. For example, you might have bought some X brand of television. You might have a better experience of viewing the television experience or whatever. So that's why we say your future choices will be mostly based on previous experiences. In case where consumer durables are there, for example, you would like to buy a new car, a new version. The old car of a particular brand may not be advantageous for you. That's how you may think of. So your future choice is made on based on future experiences as well. So that's another interesting aspect. Third is attitudes and beliefs. So your personal values, your personal beliefs, etc., guide decisions. A lot of cultural factors would be there. Should we have this product or that product, etc. For example, people are not interested to go for cooking ovens because that's not good enough and all that. We have to cook the product and artificial, what you call heating up and all that is not good enough. You have to go. These are all cultural, personal values. Which can guide your decisions as such. That's what we call attitudes and beliefs. For example, in Patanjali's marketing efforts, if you can say, Patanjali always taps consumers' perception of Ayurveda as safe and effective, no side effects and all that. It's an integrated medicine and how they define the Ayurvedic system of medicine and all wholesomeness. And so that's a Patanjali's marketing effort. And this is again based on psychological factors of buyers to buy different types of goods. And for example, Dabur, exactly the same, Ayurvedic brands. Dabur uses trusted for generations. So they look at the past experiences of different types of people, that they trust the product is being trusted for generations, tens, thousands, hundreds of years. So they're messaging like that to leverage consumers' trust. People of earlier generations trusted our product. So that's the difference between Patanjali and Dabur advertisement campaigns. And both of them are looking at the psychological factors or when they look at influencing the consumer behavior. Then when we look at macro environmental variables, so the macro level, now on an average, Say, for example, economic influences. The economic influences include one is income levels. What affects the spending power? So, for example, there may be a increase in the prices and all that. That will definitely affect the spending power. So, the income levels of the people, when the incomes are growing up, for example, you have earlier you don't have the software sector emerging. So the within a short span of 10, 20 years, we have this kind of software emerged, and you have a major chunk of people working in software sector and getting huge sums of money. So the income levels of the consumers, if they are growing, then they will affect the spending power. It's an economic influential factor. The second one is inflation. You just see prices may skyrocket. That means if the prices are becoming lower and lower, okay, but normally you have inflationary trends prevailing. So higher the prices, naturally what may happen is discretionary spending will be cut down. Definitely will cut. We will be lesser and lesser. So inflation can be an economic issue again. Inflationary trends in the economy. Then third one would be economic cycles. See, what happens is businesses are not always at a particular level of operation, because there are booms and there are recessions. These are called business cycles, trade cycles or business cycles. Boom carries with it the seeds of self-destruction and economy recedes. And after economy's recession again, it will be again a turn to recovery and all that. Because governmental policies, etc., will be influencing these things. Major decisions, international, national decisions, political decisions, economic decisions will influence the markets. So, if that is the case, we say it is economic cycles. Economic influence is economic cycle where the influences the consumers' habits as such. I mean, buying abilities. For example, during economic downturns, say for example, what the pandemic like 2021 pandemic, like COVID pandemic, demand surged for affordable FMCG products like Parle G biscuits. They have examined, they have clearly given the data. That demand surge did fall down because affordable FMCG products, because it's a pandemic scenario, COVID pandemic scenario. Like that, many products might be experiencing that kind of, might have experienced that kind of a scenario. The second is a luxury car market, for example, Mercedes Benz or BMW, for example, expanded as India's high net worth individuals increased. I have already just now told you. Indian economy is now having people of higher income levels growing, slowly growing, because of the economic development and different sectors emerge, like when we talked about the software sector and whatever. So the luxury car segment, car market segment just increased because high net worth individuals are on the increase. So these kind of examples are under macro environmental issues like economic influences. Then there are technological influences, technological advancements that may definitely shape the behavior, as earlier also we were talking. So digital payment platforms, we have Google Pay, we have Phone Pay and all that. AI driven product recommendations are there, because your buying practices will be examined by an AI agent, and AI powered suggestions you can take, because for example, if you view a Facebook page, earlier also we were talking, or Amazon, if you go through looking at different types of products just by browsing through the thing, and that your browsing experience will be caught by AI, and then you will be suggested a particular type of a product to buy. And all these things are technological influences. You need not have to pay cash, you can pay by electronic payment system. And second one is e-commerce and quick delivery models. Very, very big, because we have already talked about earlier also. Like for example, if you want to have eat something. Eating something outside means you have to go to the restaurant. Today we have e-commerce and quick delivery models. You can go in for Swiggy or Zomato and order food, and within 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes, you're given. This is e-commerce platform. See, quick delivery models. Even in the case of medicines, for example, if you take Swiggy, Instamart, name any product in a city, you will be getting it within 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes. That's what it means. So if you take examples I'm just now giving you, Zomato and Swiggy's 10-minute delivery services cater to urban instant gratification consumers. We want, see, if you just go to the restaurant and sit, people will be taking minutes and minutes and minutes, even half an hour. Your food is not served on your table. But today you have this kind of very quick delivery systems available today. Zomato and Swiggy's 10-minute delivery services. And Paytm revolutionized digital payments. Paytm, the unique digital payment platform. This is post demonetization in 2016. When Modi's government has demonetized bigger notes like 2,000 rupee notes and all that. So the economy traveled to cashless economy. We are making a journey, and almost we are in the journey to cashless economy. No cash now, only through digital payments as such. So these are all technological influences, macro environment, technological influences influencing consumer behavior. And then about social influences, this is also can be categorized as macro environment. So that means social and cultural factors as such. Family traditions influence preferences. See, every family will have their own traditions and all that, customs, traditions, and all. In India is different from Western countries. For example, we have even in Indian context also, even in Indian context also, the societal influences, significant societal influences must also be taken into consideration. Earlier, you have nuclear, what you call joint family system. Today, we have nuclear family system. So the children, after getting employed, they want to disassociate from the joint family system because of variety of reasons of independency or place of their work and all that. They move away from native places and enter into urban areas. And then there are a lot of things like family traditions influence preference patterns. Number two, cultural shifts. There are new consumption patterns that emerge. Say, for example, in our olden days, for example, when we say that this product is not bought by us anyway, and all these things, because we are baby boomers category. So now you people are next gen employees today. Your consumption patterns are quite different from our consumption patterns of different types of goods and services. This is called cultural shift. So let's take an example here. Today we have veganism movement is there. That means you need to eat only plant based, not what you call animal based meat. Plant based, there is no meat as such in plant based, but what we call is you have to have only plant based diet, not meat. Plant based diet. Good Dot is a brand name. Look at what it means, because there's a cultural shift. Veganism, vegetarian only. The second is increasing demand for organic food supplies, because there we see here artificial things happening today, and we don't have a good vegetable or a good fruit, because there are a lot of pesticides and a lot of manures and getting in chemicals and all. So people are now interested in organic food items. So today we have a lot of companies going good in terms of selling organic food, raising demand for organic India. Brands like Organic India are there. Let's look at the trends shaping consumer environment. The section one, we talked about micro environmental issues and macro environmental issues shaping consumer behavior. And section 2, we talk about trends shaping the consumer environment more specifically today in the real context. First one is digitalization and online consumer behavior. There's a lot that can be talked on online consumer behavior. Large scale sales happening, especially in the case of consumer goods category. Let us examine what are the key digital trends that are happening which make the companies to go online along with offline market, physical market stores. First one is e-commerce growth. See, from essential products to luxury items as well, you have e-commerce platforms selling. And not to name X product or Y product, lot of products are there. E-commerce growth is significant today. That's why most of the companies have their own websites, and most of the customers will be making purchasing journey through their websites and all, and order and get it online, and get the products at home, home delivery system or whatever. So because all this is made possible of the tech trends, e-commerce growth. First one. Second is, of course, we have omni-channel shopping. That means different channels together, meaning that you can have online as well as offline experiences. You can go for online if you want, or you can go for a mall and purchase the product. The trends are quite significantly present now today. You have omni-channel shopping. Yes, it is. Third one is data-driven marketing. See, earlier we were not going to have, means we did not have consumer databases. So today we have consumer data is made available. Your buying habits will be monitored, and your buying habits will be studied, and you can personalize the products. Customization is made possible. See here what happens. You will be giving, the marketers will give you a customized solution to that, to your particular problem. So that's called personalization using consumer data. For example, let's say Nika leveraged online platforms for beauty products. This is a beauty brand and beauty products, leading to a successful initial public offer. It's just considered what you call an online platform that made it a significant attempt. That factor made it a significant attempt to get into stock market to float its IPO. So a successful IPO. Look at what it means. They want to take the advantage of the trends shaping consumer environment. So that's why they are interested in buying, sorry, selling beauty products online platform. So to float a company, they have gone in for stock market. I raised IPO and got it good one. Second is Mesho empowers small businesses in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. So through social commerce, which is another important thing. See, because there is a lot of difference between urban consumer and rural consumers as such. And consumer behavior in 2 tier cities and 3 tier cities are not just the same as that of totally urban and tech driven consumers as such. So the lot of companies now empowering small business houses also in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. This is all with reference to certain factors like trends we need to examine shaping consumer behavior. And then social media's impact on purchasing decisions is said to be very, very high. This is what we call influencer marketing. It can be on a TikTok, it can be on Instagram, or it can be on a YouTube or whatever. It can be on a Facebook or whatever. So how social media shapes behavior? Number one is influencer marketing and peer recommendations. Somebody on Instagram, recommends a product, or and when you say the marketers are making use of influencers today, marketers are making use of influencers today more more towards getting more and businesses. And second one is real time reviews and product comparisons. See what happens, if you look at Amazon, you can have a comparative analysis also. If you want to buy X brand and Y brand, I want to have a comparison between X and Y instantaneously. And that will give you a clear picture of what X and what Y are in comparison, what are plus or what are minuses, etc. This is a real time review minded. How many number of customers you want to ask if you would like to buy X product or Y product? I want a comparison. Look at these things mean. Social media's impact on purchasing decisions is very significant today. Example, Mamarat grew rapidly via Instagram and YouTube influences promoting toxin free skincare ointments. Just one example, you can there are a number of things. Influencers available on Instagram or YouTube. I mean, people will be influenced by these social media. Like that, another global brand, Mintra's collaboration with Bollywood celebrities. These Bollywood celebrities are the key influencers of your market minded. For end of reason sale boost conversations. That means they boost the market sales through conversing with the customers. Bollywood actresses, Bollywood actors, celebrities as such. So this is again another important trend we need to examine: social media's impact on purchasing decisions with the help of influencer marketing approach. Then another interesting aspect trend we need to examine is about sustainability and ethical consumerism. People now, I have already told you, Generation Z are very much interested in saving the globe, environmental conservation. They are just interested to buy and consume and dispose environment friendly products as such. So there is a growing ethical awareness. So that's the reason why marketers are now interested in giving preference for eco-friendly packaging, no single-use plastic piece. Eco-friendly packaging means here any product that's to be disposed of must be biodegradable. That must go to the earth and diminish. That's it. If you do all that in nonsense with plastics and all, then everything gets out of gear, because that can create a lot of problem, and the globe get disturbed. Environment becomes danger areas. Second one is the demand for sustainability and cruelty-free products. I have already talked to you on plant-based things. No question of killing animals. The demand for sustainable products, green air we want, green agriculture, everything. Because we would like whatever you do in the name of consumption or production should be ethical. It should be ethical. Consumer wants ethical practice to be followed by producers, and of course they are also responsible in ethically consuming the product consumption patterns also. So, for example, Tata's tea Jagore campaign promotes social responsibility and consumer awareness regarding number of things. Like just like that, Fab India emphasizes handicrafted eco-friendly products sourced from rural artisans. See, our rural artisans are there. They are making the products. Why can't you buy it? Help save our rural economy. So this is what we mean by sustainability and ethical consumerism. Another important variable, a trend which we need to examine, which influences the consumer behavior modes. And as a person from outside, as a marketer, I mean, sorry, as a research analyst to study consumer behavior, the future outlook is to be examined with proper perspective. In conclusion, we can say that the future of consumer behavior in India, there are certain emerging trends we need to examine very clearly. Either it can be micro environment issues or macro environment issues. First one is increased digital and cashless transactions. We have already made a mention. Paytm has revolutionized the markets. No more physical markets as such. Of course, there are malls and there are supermarkets, and I'm not denying that. But slowly we are moving from cash and to cashless. I'm not saying, see, in case where you are going to the market, even the physical market also, nobody is interested in paying in a cash counter. We don't find a cash counters today because everything is no. You have a Paytm or Google Pay or Phone Pay, whatever it is. You have a security thing, and you have to scan the security about what you call that thing, and given the security code is there, and you just scan it, and then that's it. So increased digital and cashless transactions is a marked trend, mind it. The second is, we have just now told you about demand for ethical brands, because no question of damaging environment today. We are for sustainability, we are for ethical production and ethical marketing and ethical consumerism. So growing demand for sustainability and ethical brands is another important aspect that we need to examine. I mean, make to very clearly state a trend as a trend. A third one is rapid urbanization driving premium product consumption. Because we are moving from rural to urban, and there are a lot of things happening today of urbanization as such. Lots of developments and taking place. People are moving from rural areas to towns and cities and all that, and civic administration in cities is making every possible effort to further making the lives of people comfortable and all, because maybe a transport or whatever you call it. So this kind of rapid urbanization, say for example, Reliance Retail expands into rural India with affordable, localized product ranges. Because of that, urbanization, rural network of markets are there not only. So Reliance Retail also caters to rural India with affordable products, and located and localized in what you call product ranges. Different product ranges are there for urban market and for the rural market. And one more example I can give you is e-commerce giants invest in sustainable packaging and last mile delivery innovations. That means whatever may be the far off place, we come and give you at the last mile. We deliver the product. So because thanks to e-commerce and tracking customer orders and making the product available online or physical delivery or whatever you call it. This is what it means when we say the major dimension of understanding consumer behavior, uh, tracking consumer behavior as such. So we talked about microeconomic environment, micro environment variables, and macro environmental variables that can help us to understand clearly what it means. So here we stop, and then you can, any questions?